Da, 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 da. I think all of the audio things are working. All right, we're doing a late stream. It is not the morning, it is the afternoon. Welcome, hello. I am Raven. This is Chrysalis Studios. We are here. Today is going to be a fun one. So I have BreyerFest new releases to cover. They had a whole bunch of stuff that came out this week, which is really exciting. Some of it's really cool. Some of it we don't even know what it's going to be yet because it's a surprise. But it's Breyer. It'll be interesting. There's always speculation going on out there in the wilderness. So we'll see what ends up becoming of things like the surprise horse, what people's guesses are. I'm going to go over NaMoPaiMo, my giveaway that I am doing, as well as what my entry by popular demand looks like it's going to be. Then I'm going to talk about Armatures, and I've been posting a little bit about some of the stuff that I'm working on or that I've worked on in the past that is maybe a little bit further than I showed you. But people got really excited about the armatures, so I'm going to maybe answer some questions about those and show you kind of how it works. You can see a little bit in the background, and we'll go from there. And then my hyperfixation-y thing at the end, which is always fun, I got a box from Brandon Sanderson, so I'll show you some goodies from that. All right. Good afternoon, Andrea. Hello. Sophie, hello. I know that the later afternoon, well, early afternoon, I guess, for us, streams work a little bit better for some people. So hopefully this is good for some. It might not be good for others, but you can come back and watch it. It doesn't have to be live. All right. So Breyer, let us get into that. I found something actually really interesting that I didn't know was on the website before. So this is kind of cool. This is the events calendar. So if you go to the main Breyer website and then click on just the events tab, this brings this up. And it looks like you can submit entries to it, and it shows all the different horse shows that are going on. So that's cool. I didn't know that they did that. You can also subscribe to the calendar, which allows you to be able to go in and, oh, I like that one better. Allows you to go in and, oh, that was cool too. Subscribe to it so you can see the events pop up in your calendar. So if anything's close, then you never know, or you're bored and you want to go to a model horse show on some random weekend, then it's there. So that's neat. I found that totally by accident, but I don't think it lets you go into the future. It's not saying previous events or more events. So I imagine if you wanted to be added to it, you could potentially maybe do that. I have no idea. Ask Breyer. I just found it randomly. So that is one thing. Then they had a whole whack of stuff that came out right starting Monday. I actually had to check to make sure it wasn't 2 weeks worth of content because there was a lot. So this is the first one that I have queued up. It might not be in order. Forgive me. This one is, let's see, it talks about the Premier Collection, blah, blah, Future is Bright. This is the Bandero mold by Morgan Kilburn with a mane. I know people were excited. I was excited. I actually, well, it's hair. Are you surprised? But let me make it a little bit bigger here for you. Look at his glorious hair. So hard to see kind of on the background there, but it is in white. It has some little peekaboo holes. It's kind of wild and free. Makes the forelock make a little bit more sense. Not everybody's into the roachy mane thing. Color's really nice. It's a really nice kind of sooty, dappled palomino. So this is an alternative mane option. We don't know if there's alternative tail options for it, and we don't know if this particular run they're going to throw in some of the roached mane version or not. So keep in mind, there's probably going to be micro runs this year. So yeah, keep in mind. If you guys want to collect both, then you might be in trouble. But that is the thing. We have Krista. Hello, Krista. Hello, Kimberly. And we have Kinsey. Hi, Kinsey. Good afternoon, everybody. So this is really cool. I really like the hair. It makes him quite cute. I'll make him a little bigger on screen so you can see him. Cute little brown eye. These little stompy stompers. And I have to make sound effects, apparently, with everything. You should, if you were in my studio, during normal hours when I'm not paying attention to stuff, and had like a little fly on the wall. All you'd hear is me making sound effects as I do stuff. It's really funny when I'm making horses. There's going to be a little bit of a racket in a second because I have an iguana that wants to break into the basement. So just heads up. It's kind of cool because we're getting some of the back end stuff for the Breyer anniversary. They're doing their 75th anniversary. We're getting some of the behind the scenes things of the Premier Club. This looks like it's a Huckleberry Bay being made in their stainless steel mold. So they do mold them in halves like this. There's another casing that goes on the outside and injects plastic in. You can see they have the negative part of the horse in there too, which is kind of cool. And then his little, I'll zoom in even more if I can. The section that comes out for his feet. They can't have any, looks like all those pieces pull away too, because they can't have any undercuts or you wouldn't be able to get the horse out. You have to be able to remove the pieces to get the pony out. But it is a hug. Oh. So that's kind of cool. If you want more in-depth information, you can read all their posts. I'm not going to read them out today because there's a lot to go through. But we have an old timer. So this is a Gorilla blanket Appaloosa old timer done up in classy black and gold with silver on the hat. Hat's so cute. I need an old timer with hat. I might need this guy. He's very adorable. And he has a birdie hat. I squeed a little bit because it's cute and it's very fitting, but it's very cute. Everybody before this, it was hilarious. I was looking in the Facebook comments to see what people are saying about stuff. Every once in a while I peek. And the comments astoundingly before this were, where are vintage molds? And then this came out. So it was kind of funny. I don't know if that was the next in the queue and that's just Murphy's Law of Breyer releasing stuff, or if that was something that they maybe moved in the queue to be like, there is vintage horses. Technically, silver's almost vintage at this point. Depends on what your classification of vintage is. But he's very, very cute. So that is always fun. Then this guy. So this is going over some of their events. Another Kathleen Moody mold. They're doing lots of Kathleen Moody this year, which is exciting. YOLO is a Brition in dapple gray. Very, very cute. Done up as a Shire. Oops. There we go. It's a very, very nice color on him, and lots of people really like this guy. He has some very big stompy stompers, which is always nice. And he's got such a sweet face. Look at that. Oh, and his big fluffy face. So that's kind of cool to see. I believe he is in person only. It looks like about half of their runs this year are in person only editions, which if you're not going in person, kind of sucks. But find a good pickup person that's reliable. Do your due diligence and make sure they're a good human. There are scammers out there. People see money and opportunities to make money, and they unfortunately scam. So do your due diligence. Make sure they have good transaction board ratings. Then you can trust them. Then you can make sure you get your ponies. You can hug your ponies instead of raging and throwing things at your computer because somebody stole your money. Next up is the surprise horse, which there is some controversy about, but I didn't really want to get into it on the stream, but we'll briefly mention it. Let's just say that the acronym is probably not the best. STD, surprise, but it's fun. Surprise, seize the day. We'll find out what mold it is later. They don't ever tell us. We will find out when the first person gets to the park on Friday and opens up their first bag. And even then we won't 100% know because we haven't yet seen them switch up the molds for the surprise horse, but it's not entirely off the table. People keep going by what the strategic normal release usually looks like. There's usually some parameters it fits into, but there are not hard and solid rules. It's Breyer. They can do whatever they want. So never be surprised. Yeah, that might be a thing. Or could be a random new mold. Nobody knows. Yeah, that's the thing. We have more people. Adria says that Bandera looks much better with the mane. I kind of agree. Kinsey, see a tall, dark, big horse sculpture in the background. There is giant pony. I will show you that shortly. Katie, hi Katie. How are you? That is the lizard requesting that he be allowed into the basement so he can destroy things. Could be Fireheart. So, I don't know. I will go broke. I don't even have space on that shelf. Look, they're right to the very edge. They're going to kick Hux out soon. So, we will find out shortly, I guess, in July. But I kind of want it to be, and I kind of don't want it to be, because that's a lot of shelf space and monies. And anyway, I'll leave it at that. I've seen some guesses of Fireheart. I've seen guesses of Hamilton. We had already. Who did I see guesses of? Who have you guys seen guesses of? Because there's always speculation. I know people were guessing that there would be Silver before Silver popped up as one of the horses. Some people say Western Horse, but he's a regular run this year. So there's a lot of conflicting rules as to what might even be up there. Yeah. 6 months. Shh. 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 It's not that soon. Anyway, we have a non-pony release. So every year they do a Decorator Classic, usually Decorator Classic. This year it's a Realistic Classic. And then normally there is an animal that is. The lizard just got really quiet. He's like, I'm an animal. A animal-shaped special run. So these are all the special runs that they've come up with. It is a Blue Merle Collie, which people are very excited about. We don't normally see the companion animals, so this is kind of cool. We had stink bears one year. I still have my rad raspberry one, which is cute. But Blue Merle is an exciting color. People really like the collie, and it has a cute little bandana, which is a very nice touch. So good job, Breyer. You did a cool thing. So that is the Breyer stuff. I'm going to see if I can find the pricing list. Give me 1 second. Oh, that's wrong tab. Pardon my hold for processing while I figure out where the link went. Doing all the things. Let me see. Where was pricing? So they did release the prices. They seem to be compatible or like on par with their last few years. It's not anything too crazy. Here we go. Here we go. Hold on to your butts. So get this party started. These are all the special runs this year. In person only for get this party started. Good Times, Great Friends in person only. YOLO's in person only. Life's a Journey. The dog is in person only. So get this party started. Limited to 2,300 pieces, $70 in person only. Good Times, Great Friends, $85. 2,300 pieces in person only. Let the Good Times Roll, $80, 2,500 pieces in person and online. To the Ties That Bind Us, the Silver, 2,200 pieces, $75, both in person and online. Future is Bright, in person and online, $75, 2,200 pieces. Hats Off to You, which is the old timer, that is 2,500 pieces, $70, and both in person and online. Seize the Day Surprise, $85 and 7,800 pieces in person and online. That is a big freaking run. How many was it last year? YOLO, 2,400 pieces, $75, and you have to be there to get it. And Life's a Journey, $65, 2,000 pieces, and it is also in person only. I'm assuming we're going to see some limited editions that are online only, like we did last year with Blue Zeus and the stablemate that I can't remember the name of. Wild Things. Lizard. Okay, hold on. Let me go get a Lizard. He is very sad. Yes, I hear you. Hey. The Lizard says hello. Say hello. What's that? He's like, what's going on? Are you cute? Big lizard. He is quite large in head scale. Quite large. Do you want to like hang out? What are you going to do? You're just destroying the house and the door. So, Geronimo, Katie saying, or Fireheart would have Katie doomed. If the surprise horse is Adonis, I'm a die, says Rojo. Or Royo. I assume it's Royo. Sorry about that. That would be very crazy. So, yeah. We have the iguana. The iguana is much less displeased that he is now allowed in the house in the studio area. It is not an unsupervised thing because there will be broken models, there will be trashed everything. It is a mini Godzilla. So, right? You mini Godzilla? So, hello. You can hear his little huffing. Hey, say hello. And his little, hold on. Stripey belly. He's like, just put me down. Hey. Okay. You want to go on my shoulder? All right. We can do that. I don't have the shirt for this, but that's okay. We have lizard claws. So that is an iguana butt. This is Blue. Blue is our upstairs studio mascot, causing all sorts of troubles, right? He's like, I just want to be included. Just include me. So yeah, that was the Breyer stuff that I have on the roster. This is way harder to do with the lizard. Hey, buddy. Let me see what I've got going on here. So I don't think there's anything else Breyer that I missed this week. That's all the special runs. We won't see any more special runs from them. There will be more limited editions and some other information on other stuff coming. That will be very, very cool. We will see what happens in the next week, and then I'll show you guys when I come back on. Let's talk about NaMoPaiMo for a second. So I made a post on social media showing what my potential entry might be. And it looks like, due to popular demand, there's a whole bunch of people and not one person was like, do a realistic thing. Do something different. Everybody wants this guy. So based after a crazy sea slug thing that I'm probably not going to be able to call the right name because I just found the picture. I didn't look up what it was because I just like the colors. So I popped it into Procreate, did my little design up, and I really like the colors. So I didn't know if they were going to work. I figured if they worked on the sea slug, they should work on a unicorn. And I have a Bombus here that I have primed that I was going to paint up before his release. That obviously that didn't happen. So this is a great opportunity to use my primed Bombus. I don't know how the heck I'm going to pull it off because there's a lot of neons and crazy stuff in there. My plan is to use airbrush. So if I go in and airbrush him, it's going to be a lot of masking, which I can do. It's just going to be very new to me and challenging, which is the whole point of NaMoPaiMo. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, NaMoPaiMo is the National Model Horse Painting Month that happens the month of February every year since 2017. It is started by Jen Buxton. If you want to sign up or want more information, there is a Facebook group and there is also a website. So you can look up NaMoPai, P-A-I-Mo, and it'll pop up. So you can see actually NaMoPaiMo. And yeah, so you guys voted that I go crazy. So we're going to give her a try and see what we can do. It'll be a challenge, but I'm going to try it. So yeah, and it'll be very cool. I've had people suggest that there maybe be a little bit more black accenting to set off some of the colors. So we'll see what ends up happening. I might veer a little bit from this particular strict drawing and have a little bit of fun depending on what's going on. Some people suggested that some parts be gold leaf, which I have. I have some blue and copper gold leafing. I have actual gold leafing. I have silver leaf. I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I could play with. Maybe accent the hooves and the horn. Who knows? It'll be interesting. So I should do a blue sculpture. And he is named after the raptor, which was probably not the most intelligent thing to do, but Yeah, well, don't huff at me. You like that name. And he really likes watching Jurassic Park and stuff. He gets all wild afterwards, which is kind of funny. I think he thinks I could be just like them. Just gotta get a little bigger. Hi Pam, how's it going? How Glenda? Hi Lizzie. We're just late today. It's all good. Donna, hello. He's very lucky he doesn't live in Florida. Yes, so they're illegal in Florida. They're not super accepted here, but they also can't roam wild because they would die. It's too cold. So places like Florida, they're rampant. I know people that are in a group on Facebook and they'll go catch them wild and then sell them to other places or try and rescue them. Wild iguanas are pretty feral. I wouldn't suggest that. We got really lucky. He's pretty tame, and we call him he might be a she at this point. We don't 100% know. You have to actually like poke their cloaca to see, and we haven't done that. So that's the thing. He is rescued. He was part of a rescue operation where they took, I think it was 1,000 animals out of a aquarium place that sold reptiles and fish. Don't claw me, don't claw me. That sold reptiles and fish. Don't take on my shelf either. And he was not doing very well. He's got a bum knee and he was kind of starving and not doing very well at all. So we took him in. They had him in the Humane Society. We took him from there because my husband had iguanas when he was younger. So he knows all the rigmarole of how to take care of them. And now he got a cute little studio buddy. So that's the thing. Yeah, I'll turn it so you guys can see him. He can hang out when the unicorn's not showing his face on the screen. So yeah, I'll give that a try for Namo, and we'll see. My primed Bombus is just down there, but it's hiding. It's okay. So yeah, hopefully everybody's having fun with it. I definitely encourage people to join in with NaMoPaiMo. And on that note, I have a giveaway. I will share my thinger here. So I announced this last week. I'm going to do a giveaway for anybody who paints a chrysalis pony during NaMoPaiMo. It can be an unofficial entry, it can be a resin, it can be a Breyer, so Fireheart, or even the resin Justify, or the ornaments like Rosalie. It could be a medallion. It doesn't have to be a full 3D horse. So most medallions don't count technically for NaMoPaiMo as an official entry. It needs to be a horse, and let's see, make a little bit. It needs to be a proper full 3D horse. There are rules and regulations you have to follow. Go to the NaMoPaiMo website to see. But you have your chance to win a Noki, which is the little venti mini version of Tater, Cowboy Tater, or a Bombus, which is what I'll be painting. So there's nothing that you need to do to enter other than paint one of my pieces or something that I've done during the month of February, which is when NaMoPaiMo runs. If you painted it before, it does not count for the contest. This is supposed to be encouraging to get people painting stuff for NaMoPaiMo and for the month of February. Trying new things. A lot of people that participate in NaMoPaiMo don't actually paint themselves usually. So it is a good way to encourage people to maybe explore the creative side of the hobby a little bit more. You are looking to cause trouble. Hey, no trouble. Only chill. Yes, only chill. He's going to start throwing stuff in a second. So yeah, if you want to participate, all you need to do is paint something that I've sculpted during the month of February. The Peter Stone mold that I did, they call it Finn, so the cob. The resin version, the pewter version, which is a little micro, the pebbles size version, or the plastic. Any of those would technically count as well. And then you could enter it in the stone contest because they're also holding, they're also holding a contest for a free stone if you enter NaMoPaiMo with a horse of theirs. And then if you finish, you get another entry into another draw for another one. This isn't a best of contest that I'm hosting. It is going to be a random draw between anybody that submits their entry through my website. So, and you can submit multiple entries. So that means that it doesn't matter if this is your first time ever painting. You, hey, 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 no Godzilla, not today. You can enter and still have just an equal of chance as anybody else. Get up here. Chill out. Don't jump. Okay, I'm gonna have to get rid of the lizard because he is going to be a holy terror. Come on. Come on. No jumping. No jumping. Up. He's so cute, but so much trouble. Silly lizard. So yeah, I think it'll be really fun. And then because you can double qualify, extra cool. Although it is not exactly easy to get a hold of the...
We can't go
What
over.
the heck? I don't even know what I touched. That's what I get for zooming in on stuff. So yeah, that'll be cool. You can check out my website for more information. I need to actually put a... That's actually a good reminder. So it is under Chrysalis Studios NaMo giveaway. I will show you guys. There's a link on my link tree, which is on Instagram and Facebook. It is open till the end of February. You do need to submit your entry at the end of February because I will have to do the draw on the Sunday for the stream. So I did need a couple days to go through and organize all the entries. That means you got to finish by the 28th and then submit it as soon as you can once you're done, because some people paint up into midnight. I'll give a little bit of grace there, but I do need a couple of days to work on the results, and I wanted to do it for the stream. So if you need information, check out the website. I will put a button on the main page, but it is also up in the menu bar at the top. So even if you're on the home page, you can click right there. It'll get you to the page with all the information. This is where you would click to email me. You can also copy and paste this. Make sure to use the subject line NaMoPaiMo contrast entry so that I make sure I sort everything appropriately and can put it in a spreadsheet. That's all your mumbo jumbo about how it all works. There's one Bombus, one Noki. We'll do that. So yeah, should be fun. I'm excited to paint with you all and show the progress of my ridiculous colored thing that I don't even know how I'm going to paint. And I have to somehow make it glow in the dark too. We'll find out how that works. Godzilla, pretty much Donna. He's definitely Godzilla. Lizzie's saying she has a ton of blank resins. If anybody wants to paint something during NaMoPaiMo, commissions count as long as you have permission from the person you're commissioning. They can't enter. You have to have painted it yourself. That is the spirit of NaMoPaiMo in the contest. So yeah. Brenda's saying I'm going to try using mica powders on one of your medallions. That's awesome. So I will be mixing some mica powder Perlex stuff into my airbrush paint to make it color shifty, sparkly, awesome. So that'll be fun. Ride till dark. Kinsey, it snowed in Florida. It's nice here. You guys stole our weather. I have no idea what's going on, but I'll take it because minus 40, minus 50 is normally, we get about a week of that during this time of year, and I don't want that. My pony doesn't want that. Nobody wants it. Blue mother, I crave chaos and carnage, says Katie. Yeah, pretty much. Donna says you can catch them all you want here in Florida. A lot of people eat them. Apparently, iguanas taste like chicken. Chicken of the trees, I've heard them called before. We haven't tested the theory. We love blue too much. But yeah, that's the thing. Anyway. Now that we have reached the end of the Chrysalis portion, I have some orders that have been coming in. I'm just about done the paid in full Bombus orders. So we're getting to the end of that. Any time payments that are coming in, I'm shipping those. That's a shipping update for where we're at now. Bitty Biter, as you're time paying and paying those off, they're shipping pretty much the next week or the week after. Kind of goes the same for Taters, big version and little. So Ruffles and Noki and Bombus. So yeah, it's exciting. Hopefully we will have new goodies soon, but I can't yet talk about some of that. You did see me post about working on some new armatures though. So let me show you those posts while we're here. This, wow, I'm going to get in trouble for, what the heck? Here we go. So this is a standard armature that I would start. I made a post about this, shared kind of some of the process. This is how a horse starts. And it's hard to kind of wrap your brain around what that looks like when you have the horse shape around it, because it kind of looks like a dog with a hairy tail here. That's one of the challenges with sculpting from scratch versus doing a custom. A custom, you already have that silhouette there. You're just breaking it up and repositioning it. A full original sculpture, you don't have any of those baselines. You are working 100% from scratch, and you're having to kind of see that silhouette yourself. What can really help with that is building on top of it and building that silhouette in a 2D form before building out your 3D forms. And I'll show you what that looks like in 1 second. But I want to show you. Wow, we're zooming. It's going to be a day like this. That is not what it went. Damn it. Okay. Apparently my touch screen just wants to be touched and left. All of the sculptures that I do. Oh yeah, now it doesn't want to do it. Really? Well, screw you then. So all of the sculptures start as a standing 2D model or standing 3D model. I don't do the armature in the position that I'm going to make it in, because it is way easier to get your proportions and stuff right if you do it standing. So a book like this called The Empire of Equus, it is by, the spine isn't going to be 100% accurate here, David P. Willoughby, is a really good book to have on hand. It has measurements from a whole bunch of different breeds. It goes over all the anatomy, but one of the things that stands out in this particular book is that it does have these different breeds, and it has all of their proportions measured out, and the drawing's fairly accurate. So you get this drawing there. It does show some real life examples. The illustration is drawn from the real life examples, and it'll go over a little bit about the breed information. But the best part of this, look at this chunky criollo. The best part of this is you get to these. This is all of the individual measurements from these breeds. So it gives you an average of what their head length is, what the height of the withers is, what the height of the croup is, the length of the head, the length of the ear, the length of the neck. So if you really want to get a good idea of what those measurements are for that breed, at least from this time period, because breeds change over time, then it will do that. And it shows you here how the proportions break out and what those measurements come from. It has a Shetland. So you get everything from ponies to a Mongolian wild horse to standard bred, thoroughbred, Arab, domestic ass or donkey. The other one is a Kulan or Chigetai. I don't know. Looks like some sort of mule or feral donkey thing. Me? Never heard of it. Grubby zebra. Other zebra. So it's very, very handy. You get quite a few different things in there. Everything's been measured out, which is very cool. It does give you some information on some of the sports and how anatomy kind of changes what horses are able to do. You have your Lipizaners in here. There is all sorts of cool stuff. It talks about the differences in head, tail, anatomically between different breeds. It does go into some history about horses in general. It's kind of cool, which is neat. Talks about some of the anatomy and hooves and stuff. So this is a really cool book to have in hand if you're looking to do measurements. And then you can take these. Oh, and it gives you 3D versions of this. Well, 3D. Technically, if If you put them together, it'd be 3D versions of the skull. Grab one of Maggie's skulls, her shrunken skulls, and then they are a very good reference for Stoof. But artists including myself and Lynn Fraley, who first showed me the idea of taking these and then blown them up, and then you can write the measurements as they convert over to 1/9 scale, and then use that to make your armatures and get your proportions right on your sculptures. So magic. That is a good book to have on hand. It wouldn't be a go-to anatomy book for sculpting in general, but more so just for proportions and breed. But it is very cool. It took me 30 seconds to find one on Amazon, or I think I bought it off Abe's Books, actually. But you can find them on eBay. They're used. I don't know if there's a current printing of it, but you can usually find them around. And they're usually not crazy ridiculous. But Empire of Equus by Willoughby. So that's a good starting point. It allows me to measure and figure out my proportions. If you're wondering why it has little duck feet, that's because I leave a little bit of extra at the bottom just in case I wanted to do a pose where it is gravity defying and I require a pegged base, because it is a bugger to put a peg into a foot if you have ended the hoof here. It is way easier if you have some sort of something in the bottom of it. So they always start like this. And then if I wanted to do a rearing, then it takes me 3 seconds to bend my armature. And I'm going to get spaghetti legs here because this is how that works. So if you're going to bend your armature and get something like that, you're going to have a very not accurate sculpture. And your knees are going to be all wonky. So as crisp as you can get the joints is how you want to bend it. So normally over bending and then bending it back to get the angle you want works the best. This is a aluminum wire, which means that it is, these ends are going to mess me up for how the legs look, but that's okay. It is easy to bend, but that also means it's easy to warp. So see how this is really round? That's going to give me a really, really hard time later during sculpting and forever. You want to clean it up and make those joints really crisp. So this is not good. This is good. Bad, good. Spaghetti leg, bad. Not spaghetti leg, good. When I build the armature, I'll do the measurement along kind of the shoulder blade and then leave a little bit of a shoulder blade-esque roundness at the top. So that allows for me to be able to do the movement. It also helps my eye see it. If I took this wire straight to here and then came down, it'd be way harder to figure out. Or even if you went out and down, which I've seen people do, this makes it look more horse-shaped, which helps your brain see the shapes. So you can see in the picture here how I've taken a standing armature, I've posed it, and how much emotion you can get just from doing that. So if I'm bending this around, and I bend the neck in an S shape because that's how the bones go in the neck. If you keep it a straight line, it's going to mess with your eye being able to see the shape, and it's also going to be harder to move into the positions that you want it to be. So, and normally I would do the bending with one of these more so than I would be doing it with my hands, but you can do it with your hands and then clean it up later. So if you wanted to do like a rearing pose, it doesn't take much effort because you can bend everything when it's aluminum. I will sometimes use stainless steel. So this is a venti start of an armature. So that is just the head and the tail portion. I attach either side of the legs as I go. They're not one piece, obviously. It would take 2 wires to do the legs, but this is a lot harder. This is almost harder to bend than the aluminum being this gauge. So to give you a bit of an idea, the aluminum comes in like a roll. And so it's fairly easy to bend. Whereas you get into your stainless steel, and I'll just go to the Home Depot and find like your hanging wire, and you can get it in different gauges. This is also reasonably easy to bend, but for its size, it's way stronger and it's less likely to do the noodly thing. So it'll be easier to keep your shapes. If you put clay on aluminum, and then go to move something, you can actually start distorting things really easy as you're working on the piece. And you don't really want to do that because then you have to dig it out to all these little metal bones and then try and fix it. Not fun. But it gives you a really good idea really quickly. You need to leave a little bit of space kind of in the shoulder blades to be able to give the width of your shoulders. So make sure you plan for that. And the one thing people forget is always plan for your hips. Because if you did your wires coming straight out of the spine and straight down, that's not how it works. There's a gap here. So you need to splay out the wires at the hips to be able to make sure they go down. And then you try and keep these joints at your points of articulation so that you can move things accurately. So it's not necessarily where bones end, it's where your joint kind of moves is where you want to have things go. So if you wanted to do a rearing pony, it wouldn't take very long. Kind of cool. Taking something like Lynn Fraley's Wire to Winnie is really helpful because she has overlays and things that you can use. All the tools are there for you. I would highly suggest you check her out. Oops, I'm opening the wrong thing. Why is it doing that? Because I'm screen sharing? I don't understand why my keyboard is not working. Oh, my computer's like not having any of it. I don't know what I pushed. Yeah, I can't type. Well, that's cool. I can't show you the thing now because I can't show you the thing. So anyway, you saw the armature that I did. Is it because it's here? Reset. Nope. That I showed you guys of the pony that I'm doing in honor of my grandmother. So it doesn't take too much to get a feel and spirit out of the wire. You can see here how I've added a wire for the top line of the neck. That just helps my eye see it. And then from there, I use materials to build it out so that there's a 2D silhouette. You can see this guy's fairly 2D. The legs are flat. That just helps me see what's going on because it's really hard in wire unless you're experienced and your eyes trained. Then you can just build the outside quickly and you can always easily remove that. You could use tin foil, you could use paper. I've seen people use tape and super glue. This still allows you, if you leave some of the joints intact and not buried in epoxy, to move things around a little bit. And so normally I would leave the joint parts exposed to allow me to move things a little bit to make sure it stands properly or get the expression just right. But doing that silhouette's going to help a lot. So this is a quick silhouette, not 100% filled out, of a Belgian horse that I have a reference photo from the Calgary Stampede that I wanted to sculpt. Larger than traditional scale. This guy's huge, obviously. My head is good reference for that. But that's how you build it out. If I was using epoxy, you can see there's tinfoil in there. You can build up the 3D forms, build stuff on top. Epoxy, I wouldn't suggest for people just starting out because you're going to do a lot of dremeling and you're going to have to sculpt fast, which trains you very well to sculpt fast, but it is also a pain in the butt because, yeah, if you need to dig out that shoulder and move it, if it was a non-drying type of clay, then you'd be able to move that easier. I would have to Dremel all of that out to get access to that wire again. So, yeah, fun. Here's an example of one that still has some of the movement exposed. So you can kind of see what I mean. I didn't lock those shoulders in because I wanted to be able to get the legs moving. But by adding in those silhouettes, it makes a huge difference to what you're able to see. I kind of had that idea for the neck and the head, so I kept that stable. But because this guy also would require some sort of base or pegs, I need the legs to move a little bit. So I don't tend to lock those in until I'm 100% sure because digging it out sucks. So yeah, and then his little tail, you can do whatever you want with the tail. You can wag. So yeah, you can see the width through the chest that gets built in there. You can see the width through the hips. This guy obviously not quite as wide in the hips as he should have been. So that means I'm going to have to break all of this to try and move the hips out, which sucks. So there is that. And it's not easy with epoxy. I can't do it with my fingers. So I'm going to have to go in there and Dremel the inside out so that I can widen the hips. So yeah, make sure you do the little hip thing and you get the measurement right. Or at least eyeball it enough so that you're in line with where those legs will be. So that is fun. Raven head measurement. Thanks, Alvin. I appreciate that. Hopefully it's helpful for people. Kinsey saying, I need that book. What do I use as a primer, Dory says? And do I use pastels, acrylics, oils? I use everything. So I airbrush, I do oils, I do acrylics, I do pigments. And my primer of choice, I switch between Tamiya, Duplicolor Sandable, and Rust-Oleum Sandable. So depends on what I'm doing. I've had success with all of them. I generally seal with dull coat, and then on top of it, I will put a Winsor & Newton coat usually, but I also have some Krylon matte. Not everybody likes it. Sometimes it can misbehave, but that's my general process. And it really doesn't depend a ton on what I'm doing for medium. I will kind of vary things a little bit. Usually a dull coat layer will protect most things. You can always put your primer layer on, do dull coat over top of that to kind of seal the primer, and then go from there, and you usually have reasonably good success. I don't know why my Zoom's on like crazy mode. My computer's not having a good day. Let me see. That's a bit better. So yeah, that is how armatures generally work. If you're wanting something that's a little bit stronger, you can get a thicker gauge of a stainless steel, or you can twist this together and it forms a really strong braid. The consideration I would have with that is don't make it too hard to move, or you're not going to be able to move anything if you need to. And wire will only move so much. So there's also that. And then if you're doing little tiny legs on a little tiny horse, you don't want to be using this gauge of wire because it's not going to work and you're going to hate your life. So, and you don't want to twist the wire for anything like a cannon bone because you will hate your life. That's how that works. You can get thinner, smaller aluminum wire. You can see how bendable this is. It's basically like it takes no effort. I get mine on rolls because I use so much of it. And you can use that as a base for poly clay like Super Sculpey or Fimo. You could use it under epoxy. You could use it under oil-based clay, anything pretty well. But obviously your oil-based clays and stuff, if you're building on top of that, you would need to make a waste meld or scan it into a 3D format before you'd be able to make a horse that you could paint or do something with. I like to do epoxy stuff sometimes, depending on what I'm going for. So like this guy, obviously I didn't start it in another kind of clay. It's in epoxy. That makes it hard. That means I can do a master right away and I can move it into production fairly quickly. If I was doing it in like monster clay, it's great for being able to move things, get expressions going, take my time. So I'll use that sometimes, but not necessarily all the time because it requires that pain in the butt waste mold component, which is good to learn when you're first starting out. Yeah, that is the majority of the stuff about armatures. You can see on this one, I have actually done this armature in the thinner aluminum. So it's super wiggly, which is why this is very noodly looking in its appearance for how the wires are. They're very curvy versus being very angular. I've actually stabilized those cannon bones you can see here with little pieces of hollow tubing, and that'll help keep the joint from being a noodle and turning into spaghetti legs and give me a little bit more to build on, which is kind of nice because once you lose your cannon bones, it's bad day. So that is another trick you can use to stabilize things like a spine if you wanted to. So that would be everything on armatures for now, at least. If you guys enjoy me covering different topics like this, then I can keep doing it in the streams because I have fun. We'll probably delve into more painting-related stuff when it comes to NaMoPaiMo. We have no more weekends until NaMoPaiMo, so we will be in the beginning of it starting next week or next stream, I guess. NaMoPaiMo will start on Saturday, so Sunday will be day 2. We will see how it goes. I'll see how much color I can get on something. So it is prepping week. So maybe I'll cover prepping a couple of times in a couple posts. And I do want to do a painting party at some point. I have to figure out what that looks like for having either Zoom or something. It might be a live stream that I do where people can just type in chat, because that's a little bit easier to manage than a whole bunch of people on the screen. We'll find out. I will do some digging and see what works out the best. So yeah, that's exciting. I will show you hopefully more of ponies like this coming in the future. There's a lot of really cool releases that I have planned for this year, so I will hopefully have more information on those coming soon. Yes, it is fun. All right, Raven's head scale. It's a thing. It's a thing. But anyway, that is a general rundown of how that works. So I guess now that we're through the informative section, we can go to the less informative section of the random crap I'm doing and getting in the mail. I did get my Brandon Sanderson backer kit thing he did. I think it was March last year, maybe, if I'm remembering correctly. It was, pardon, my leg is asleep. My chair is lower than my camera. I am a edge dancer for my faction, and it came with a little edge dancer banner, which is kind of cool. And then coin, which the sculpting on these is really cool. That's a cultivation. I like how they use the blacks to highlight it. It came with another cool coin that I've been playing with because it's way better than a fidget spinner. So there's this. Come on. There we go. Oop. And then on the back, it's a cryptic symbol. But it spins. I don't know why I won't let me grab it. It's so satisfying, and the sound it makes, I don't know. Came with a couple pins. And then some playing cards, some Edge Dancer keychains. And for those of you that don't know, Brandon Sanderson makes some really awesome books. The reviews are kind of mixed on his last one, Wind and Truth, because people are saying it's written a little bit more fan fiction-y. It's a little more lighthearted, which I kind of appreciate. Comes with an epic bookmark. And you guys will appreciate this. So normal horses beside Rashadium, which are giant, epic war ponies that are super smart and awesome. I've got my decal that I can put on my car and a window, if I would like a window. And then it came with, well, I added on Dragonsteel Prime, which is about a dragon. I'm very excited to read it. It's very cool. So I might have a small collection of Brandon Sanderson stuff. And then this is the second book. Technically, they broke it out into 2 for all of the crazy leather-bound editions of the Stormlight Archive. So I have the first set that came out in a Kickstarter a long time ago. This is the second one. This is the new book. Wind and Truth is the 5th book, I think. And so we're halfway through, or no, a third of the way through. I think he wants 3 parts. I can't remember offhand. But they are gorgeous. I've never owned leather bounds of any other author's books before, but I love his stuff so much that it was a requirement. And it's got pretty crazy art inside. And I don't read necessarily the leather bounds. They're kind of just to be kept for my collection and to look at. I might one day. I got the signed edition too. Not signed and numbered because I wasn't fast enough, but that's okay. And he usually does it with multi-tones inside. So it's black, And then he'll use a color as an accent color. So this one's red. Some of them are green, depending on what books they are. Some of them are purple. They're definitely quite nice. So, it smells like new book. I like it. So yeah, they're kind of fun. It's kind of neat to me that I wanted like a leather bound or first edition, something like The Hobbit would be really fun, or Black Beauty. I collect Black Beauty books, but these are just kind of special. I really enjoy him as an author and all of his goodness, which is always good. And then we'll see what he comes up with in the next little bit. It sounds like it's going to be a while before he returns to the Stormlight Archive, which is my favorite series, but he has Mistborn and other books that I'll really enjoy. I've really enjoyed the one-offs, the Cosmere universe that he's created, where all these books come from, kind of interlinks anyways. So you're really not adventuring too far from where you enjoy. If you enjoy one of them, you'll probably enjoy other ones of them. I think Mistborn's a little bit more of a steampunky vibe, whereas Stormlight's a little bit more medievally almost. Not quite, because it's a little bit of a different universe going on. But anyways, that's about as close as I can get to the equivalents for running my brain on Steams. I don't know why it's not functioning very well today. But that is the coolness that I got in the mail. I've been waiting, like I said. He usually does about one big release like that a year, it's seeming like, usually as a Kickstarter or a backer kit. He had the Stormlight Archive one as one of the biggest ones. It broke a whole bunch of records on Kickstarter. And then he did his secret novels, which there were 5 of them. And that was its own thing that broke a whole bunch of records that he wrote during COVID. And they came as like leather boundy special books, which was really fun. If you want a nice place to start and you like a little bit more whimsy, the Tress and the Emerald Sea is a really good place to start. But Way of Kings kind of has my heart. That's the first book in the Stormlight Archive. So it is very, very fun if you wanted to give a book a go that's kind of more fantasy-esque with a little bit of a moral backing to it. It's kind of cool. Giving Iliad and the Odyssey vibes. Kinda. I haven't actually read that. I know. Shame on me. I have it downloaded as an audiobook on Audible, but I haven't actually listened to the whole thing yet. It can be hard to get my brain in the right space. Since chemo, I actually can't read physical books very well anymore. I've had to, and that was, what are we at? 6 years? 7 years? Something like that since I had chemo. I think it's been 6 years, maybe 6 or 7. And as soon as I did that, I could feel like the chemical going in my brain, and I can't focus to read books anymore. So I have to try really hard and read it like 15 times to get anything out of it. Whereas at least audiobooks, I can get a little bit more. I still have to go back every once in a while, but I process it better. So that's why I do Audible more than physical books. But I buy pretty leather bounds because they're pretty. Warbreaker is another good one to start with. It's kind of fun and colorful if you wanted something to ease your way into the Sanderverse, as they call it. So yeah, it's kind of fun. Other than that, I don't think that there's any other weird hyper fixations and things. There's always like 5,000 of them, but any big ones that I've come up with in the last while, I have to find a way to keep the dog out of the garden. So that'll be my next big project, is some sort of along the fence raised garden bed with cover so that Nash doesn't go in there and dig, because he is a very diggy dog. Diggy dog. And he's also outside right now because it's gorgeous with my husband. So that is why he's not occupying his space. I guess on that note, you guys have heard all the updates. I'm going to try and play as much as I can with NaMoPaiMo. You've probably seen me in the Facebook group trying to encourage people, getting on there, welcoming people. Just, I think that that's really cool. It really would have supported me having a whole bunch of people come on and say good things. Doesn't take much. I would highly suggest that you use this as an opportunity to absorb some good juju and give some good juju back. go on there, comment on people's stuff. It doesn't have to be the most wonderful masterpiece for you to give encouraging words to other people, and it just makes the community and yourself more awesome. So do that. All right. On that note, whatever happened to microtators? I am reevaluating some of the different resin options, and my printers are being dinks. So all micros are currently on hold because it's that hard choice between pewter, which bends, and then all your paint jobs crack off of it. And then when they break and pieces snap off, they're really hard to repair, versus more brittle resins, which are easier to clean and prep and customize, versus the more rubbery resins, which are harder to paint and then have similar issues to the pewter. There's really not a good solution for materials to make micros in. So my brain can't handle it with just coming out of all the biter stuff. So I need to not do micros for a minute. So they are not on the roster for right now. Isles of Emberdark will be very cool. There's so many good books. I'm waiting for books to come out, but that is okay. I'm actually listening to on Audible the sequel to The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle, which is actually quite enchanting so far. It revisits the characters later on in their life, and I'm not very far into it, but you get to see more about what Molly Grew's about, and Schmendrick and Lear, and there's a couple characters in there too, so that's kind of neat. It's kind of a nice thing to listen to in the background for very magical things. Zooms would be fun, says Katie. Holly says, sanding so much I don't have fingerprints anymore. That is the bad part. If we could just have things come prepped, that would be wonderful. Before I go, I don't want to miss people's comments. If I missed your comment, I'm sorry. Just type it like 500 times. Need to veg with rice with nice cup of coffee or tea. Yes, that is the way to do it. All right. On that note, I will see you guys next time. Go into the NaMoPaiMo group or on Instagram. Check out the hashtags. Encourage people that are starting out. Encourage each other. Just dive in with both feet, whether you've painted or not. I will be participating shortly, and I'm going to try and post more stuff online because I know I went into a bit of a dark hole for a while there, but we're coming out. It'll be good. NaMoPaiMo is a good opportunity to do that and use it as like jet fuel to go into space because I have ponies to sculpt. So many ponies to sculpt. So yeah. All right. Love you guys. Thank you for participating. I will see you next week. We will be into NaMoPaiMo. And in the meantime, comment good things for good peoples. And then don't feed the trolls. You still can't feed the trolls, even if you're like happy posting to other people. Just diets. They need diets. All right. Love you guys. See you next time.